Hello there. Let me make sure we are recording. We are recording. I am so excited. This has been the most exciting week ever. Okay, I have been doing so many paintings and projects with you all week long. It's been like one big long party. I'm Joan Turner, jonesartgallery.com, intuitivebodyandsoul.com. And we have been doing lots and lots and lots of projects. We did rock painting, 2 mandala classes. We did a fun and paint, which is like a wine and paint, but without the wine. But that doesn't mean you can't have your favorite beverage when you are doing your wine and paint or your fun and paint. Okay, so today we're going to do the last in the 5 project series that we have been doing. A lot of you have kits that you've picked up from the senior centers, and it does not, you don't have to have one of those kits, but you do have to have some paints. You do need to have your own supplies here. So let me move my tea out of the way here, and hopefully I'm not going to sit on it. Okay, now these recordings I am doing at home in my studio because we are honoring distancing, safe distancing, because for anyone in the future who is watching this, this is taking place during, there's a global pause created by the COVID-19 scare. Okay, so so I am recording this from home. And this is my home studio. I don't know if you can kind of see. Let's see. Lots of pictures, art supplies everywhere. Okay, so this is my home studio. All right. So lots and lots of stuff going on over here. This is the most creative room in my house because besides doing, oh, I have paint on my keyboard. I wonder how that happened. So aside from doing art here, I also coach meditations. I have a certification in hypnosis. So we do all kinds of cool stuff in this room. I call it the most creative room in the house. Okay, so I actually am going to try and position this in a way in which I can paint it and you can see it. So let's see how that works out. Let's see. I need it a little bit closer to me, and maybe you need to be a little further away so that you can see the whole screen, the whole canvas here, as a matter of fact. Okay, let's try moving it this way. This way? Okay, so I apologize because I wanted you to be able to see me so I could introduce myself for those who have not been kind of following along, but just kind of starting right here. Okay, so and that's fine too. It's not a series where you have had to have done the other 4 parts. Each project is a standalone project, which means that you don't need any previous prep for it. Okay, so this project, okay, this is another fun and paint, all right, and this is the one that we're doing. The one that we did prior to this is this one. Okay, this is the one that we completed just a couple of days ago, last week, whenever you're seeing this. So this was the last fun and paint. So the schedule depends on what area you're watching it in and from. Okay, so I chose this one because if you did do the other one, you already have kind of the practice with the tree, and the flowers certainly are very similar. So I thought that this would be a good 5th and last project. So the things that you will need for this project are brushes, okay? Brushes, my brushes are in the water because they've been painting all day long. Okay, big roll of, it looks like a big roll of toilet paper is actually a big roll of paper towel. Okay, so you will need brushes, okay? Big brush for the biggest, squarest brush that you have, right? This is a 1-inch brush. You could use a 3/4 inch brush or a 1/2 inch brush. All right, the biggest brush that you have, only because when we do the background here, we're going to want to be able to get it on there and nice smooth strokes. Let's see here, this might be a little bit better. Nice smooth strokes, okay? Check it out. Right. So, and then we will need a smaller square head. We call these square heads because they're square as opposed to long or round. All right. So this square head is called a chiseled head because, as you can see, it's angled. And the beauty of this particular brush is that you can use it as a flat square head brush. But then if you have this like little bit of detail, you have the little point on here too, and that makes it really easy to work with. The other brush that I have is a round brush, okay? We got a round head because it's round. And this particular one has a nice little point on the top of it, very tip of it. All right, so whatever size brushes you have is fine. Work with what you have. Does it have to be exactly like this or exactly like mine? Of course not. You are the creator, and you will let your personality just really shine through. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So we have our brushes. You need a canvas. Those of you who have picked up kits have 14 by 18s. This is a 16 by 20. I'm going to try to paint on a little bit of a bigger canvas so that you can maybe see more clearly. Okay, so, and if you do see more clearly, you will see that this is actually a repurposed canvas. I end up doing lots of fun and paints and wine and paints, and so sometimes I end up with more than one of the same subject matter. In that case, I typically will donate them to places that are trying to raise funds for good causes, or sometimes I just give them away. Someone likes them, so you just say, oh yeah, okay, here. And of course, they're always for sale as well. So, and then whatever I have that, you know, I might pick the one that I like the best and maybe hang on to it. And then I just paint over the other ones and just repurpose the canvas. That way you don't have any waste. You don't want to waste anything. More tea, thank you. So water dishes, okay? Have your water container. Your water container to clean your brushes should not look anything like your cup that you're drinking from, okay? Because, and I'm speaking from experience, if you decide that you're going to put water in your cup to clean your brushes while you're so focused on your work and the super things that are going on over here, you reach your hand over to what looks like your cup of tea or coffee, and you go to drink it, and before you know it, you're like, you know. So throughout the years, I have learned, make sure that your water container to clean your brushes doesn't look like your mug, your cup, or anything else, okay? And after so many years, I don't confuse them anymore, but I used to quite often, and I would wonder why. I'd be like, what the heck? But then when I started differentiating between the containers and always using the same, a bowl type of container to clean my brush and a cup or a mug for my drink, that it never happened again. Okay, so your brain is very resilient. It helps you out whenever it can. So you got to help yourself out. Okay, so there, had a drink and I'm putting it down. Okay, canvas, brushes, water, paint. You absolutely need paint. If you look at this handout, and you can't see it down there, but you can see it right here. We are going to need white. All right, we're going to need purple, pink, brown. All right, so all of those colors we are definitely going to use. You're going to need some black. All right, so all these colors you will need. Now, if you have a kit that just has the basic or primary colors are red, blue, and yellow, which means that they cannot be made. You have to kind of buy them that way. And most starter kits have those three colors and black and white. All right, so you want to have at least those 5 colors. Now, secondary colors would be purple, green, brown, those types of things. If you have those, very awesome. If not, you are perfectly able to mix them using your 3 primary colors. For instance, brown is a combination of green and red. Okay, if you don't have green in your paint kit, what makes green? Blue and yellow. Okay, so blue and yellow makes green, and you add a little red to it, and you have brown. And the beauty of mixing your own colors is that you create the shade that you want. You're the creator here. So what you make is going to be something that you really love. Right, the same thing with the purple and the lilac colors. Blue and red make purple. Okay, and I'll say it again. You don't have to try and memorize anything. Blue and red make purple. If you add white to it, you end up with lilac. Again, you are so in control. You'll absolutely love it. Okay, so what else in here? All right, so we've gone through brown, pink, obviously, red and white, and this has a little bit of an orange in the very centers. Right, well, that makes orange, red and yellow. All right, so even if you just have a very small kit of primary colors and black and white, you can do absolutely any painting, any picture at all. So this is going to be white. It's going to be blue, and the blue and red, we're going to make kind of a lilac. We're going to put white on the canvas first and then mix this in. On the edges here is where we're going to go a little bit darker with the purples. Okay, so we have, let me see, we have our canvas, brushes, paints, water, palette. You need a palette. Okay, so a palette, if you have an actual palette, that's super good. You could use any kind of a waxed paper. Most people just use paper plates if they don't, if they don't have a palette. Plastic coated plates, paper plate, paper plate, anything works. Okay, this is one I was using earlier for an earlier class. All right, so paper plates work absolutely awesomely wonderful. Okay, so I would say it's time to start, kids. All right, so the first thing, like I say, the first thing we're gonna do is paint the entire canvas white. Okay, so that means if we're gonna do the entire canvas white, that means we're gonna need a goodly amount of white. You can, because we're not mixing white, I mean, if you're mixing a color, then you want to mix enough to make sure you don't run out of that color. However, with the white, you don't have to mix the white, you have white. So it's better to not waste your paints, all right? So what I'm doing is I'm putting white on my plate. I am putting quite a bit on there because even after I do the background, we're gonna use it for some of the other colors. Now, having said that, you know, put what you think you need, just don't over put, because you can always put more. All right, these paints are acrylic, they dry relatively fast, so you don't want them to actually dry out on your paper plate, and then you have to use more, blah, blah, blah. So we want to not waste it and not let it dry out. Okay, so I'm putting the brush in the paint, and I'm really loading the paintbrush. All right, and there's sometimes when you will want to do that and sometimes not. So I'm loading the brush because I know I'm going to do the whole canvas. All right, so I'm going to get this paint on here like this. And like I said, it dries relatively quickly, so you don't want to let it dry out. Okay. So, and this paint is on the thick side. All right, so I'm actually going to need more paint, I guess. I think I'll try a thinner paint. Okay, it's a kind of flow paint or student grade paint, and it's a little bit looser. All right, so especially for a background, all right, it's a little bit looser, would be a little bit easier to spread, and sure enough it is. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to cover the whole canvas. All right, cover. And see, I'm going back and forth, and trying to create smooth strokes. Now, don't forget, I said I'm using a repurposed canvas as well. So I probably have a little bit more texture on this canvas because there are paint strokes underneath here. Okay, so yours will go on a heck of a lot smoother because you have probably a brand new canvas, I would guess. All right, unless you also are using a repurposed canvas. So again, when do you want to use a repurposed canvas? You want to use a repurposed canvas when maybe you've done a picture that you're not really crazy about. You know, not everything you do has to be a masterpiece. As a matter of fact, getting a masterpiece is not what it's all about. It's all about enjoying the process, okay? Because if you're not enjoying it, don't do it, right? It's a very, very rewarding thing to do. It's like a meditation to me. I absolutely love it. All right, so I have a feeling you will love it too. If you notice, I am doing my edges, my sides here, right? And the reason for doing that, and I do them pretty much with all my canvases, and the reason for that is that this is a stretched canvas, and what that means is that the canvas was stretched around a wooden frame and stapled on the back of it. All right, there are such things as canvas panels, and I'm sure I have one here that I'm not going to get paint on because I'm going to be so careful. All right, so this is a canvas panel. See how thin that is? So this is canvas that has taken off my shoes here. This is a canvas that has been glued or mounted onto like a piece of cardboard or a heavy board, right? So this is a mandala that we did do as part of this series, as a matter of fact. But see how much thinner it is? That's the difference between a canvas board and stretched canvas. Can you use a canvas board to do this? Absolutely you can. All right, you can use a canvas board, you could use a stretched canvas, but when someone says stretched canvas, this is what they're talking about, a canvas that has been stretched around a wood frame and stapled onto the back or fastened on the back somehow, okay? Oh, here's another one, yay! I have two out, a little curly one. All right, so now that I have this background painted here, now I want to go ahead and create this beautiful merged kind of purpley background, right? And I want to do it right, I want to do it while the paint is still a little bit wet, all right? So if you have purple, that is extremely cool. If you do not have purple, again, we're going to make purple by putting, oh wait, this is my paint. Oh, there we go. I'm going to have an awful lot of red in here, only because it kind of squirted out. But I have red, and now I am going to put some blue on my palette. Okay. So here is some blue paint. So I have red and blue. Give myself a little bit more white. Remember not to waste your paints. My red kind of squirted out really a lot, but that's okay, that's okay. So I'm going to take the blue and most of it, okay, not all of it. I want to leave some there because I might want to add or make some more. Okay, so this is my blue on a clean palette, and now I'm taking red and mixing it in there. Okay, already you can see a beautiful, beautiful purple color. Now, again, because you are the creator here, you know, that purple, you can make it more on the red side, you can make it more on the blue side. I'm going to add a little bit more red. Oh, see, nice. That looks like a nice thicker, a darker purple and thicker. Okay, and I did not clean my brush to mix this because I didn't mind if it had a little bit of white in it. All right, so again, take another look, and you should, those of you who have the kits actually have this picture. All right, so I want to leave this part kind of white. All right, so I'm going to take my brush, and that is really, really purple. And I'm going to go across the bottom like this. And like I said, my white is still a little bit wet. So the white is merging with the dark purple over here. And I'm getting a nice kind of lilac-y color. And it's a little bit darker than lilac, but that's very, very okay. I'm going to, because I didn't mix it very well, it actually has some kind of different values of purple in it, which is extremely cool. I'm really liking it. Okay, so I'm doing my perimeter first. Okay. All right, let's do this. Going again, doing my sides, my top. There we go. All right, and the reason, again, if I didn't already say it, the reason to do the sides like that is it gives me the option of displaying this piece without being framed, because the picture or the subject matter extends itself along the outside border. So if I have it hanging on my wall and you can see this depth over here, you're not going to just see a white patch. You're actually going to see that the picture is continued, the subject matter is continued along the sides and edges. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I do them. If in fact I decide to not do them, then I kind of have to frame it. Okay, so this gives me options, and God love me, I like options. Okay, so it's because I paint to the bottom here, it's sticking to my easel. This is called an easel. It's holding my painting up straight. You do not need to have an easel. I am using the easel because it'll hold it up while I paint on it, and will be easier for you to see. Okay, so I have many times just kind of propped it up on a pile of art books and painted doing that. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be on an easel. Some students find it really, really easy to just kind of hold it in their laps. A thing, while I'm thinking of it, this paint, okay, acrylic paint, when it's wet, all right, you can, when it's wet, if you get it on your clothes or, you know, on your table, while it's wet, you can actually get some soap and water and you can clean it off. Once acrylic paint dries, it's permanent, okay? This is, so make sure you wear your art clothes, right? This is my art clothes, okay? That's my art shirt. And I have bleached this shirt several times, all right? And as you can see, the paint is not coming off of this shirt. Having said that, this art shirt is many years old, okay? But again, you know, you once it dries on there, it's there for life. It's part of the shirt. Okay, so you should make sure that you have an art smock on, even better than an art smock or art clothes. All right, so that way, if you happen to get paint on them, you're not going to be miserable. Okay, so I'm actually going all the way to the middle here. I do want that middle to maintain white, so after it dries a little bit, I'll probably go over it with the white. But in the meantime, I kind of really want to blend it a little bit. Okay, so, and I like how round it is and the movement that's in there. Okay, so I've used up pretty much all of my purple here. So I actually would like this part to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to mix a little bit more, but I want this inside here nice and smooth. I want it to look like it's really kind of moving. Things are going on here. Okay, so that's how it looks there. So I'm going to mix a little bit more purple here and put some more on there. As a matter of fact, Prussian blue. What is this? There is so much paint over this house. Prussian blue. Where the heck is the violet? Aha! Found. Okay, so mix some more purple or violet if you need it. We are going to want these edges to be a little bit darker, okay? And I'm actually going to add a little bit of black. You could add black or brown, but this is almost a grayish purpley color. Whenever you add black to any color, you gray it. When you add brown to any color, you dust it. So if I add black to blue, I end up with a slate kind of color. If I were to add brown to pink, I would end up with a dusty rose type color. Okay, so when you add brown to something, you dust the color. When you add black, you gray it or make it almost a slate kind of color. So I'm adding black to my purple and getting it really, really dark. And it actually just dripped on my art table, which is not a problem for the art table because there's a lot of paint on it, but I wanted that. Ah, nice. Okay, so I wanted this nice and dark, and it is. Okay, so where I wanted the dark was in the corners, like over here. And there's so much paint on this canvas that it's kind of stuck now to my easel. Okay, so I also want a little bit more dark up here. So again, whatever purple you're using, if you want it darker, I'm going to add a little bit more black up here. Okay, adding more black here. Let's take this again over here. All right, let's do a little bit. I don't want this part to actually be too dark. I want the dark to be right around here and maybe a little here, not too much on this side for some reason. So, you know, when you're painting, your subject matter doesn't, you don't have to like have, if I put dark over here, I don't have to have it as dark over here if I don't want to. If I want to, that's a whole different story because we are the creators. Right, so, all right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the dark here, dark, dark. I like how dark this is. All right, I'm gonna do just a little around the top. This poor brush has had so much activity this past week, and it's one of my favorite brushes that it's actually loose in here. So afterwards, I think, I mean, I can't throw away my favorite brush. So I will take it apart and actually glue, put some super glue in this part of it. And I see I already did it once, but I can do it again. All right, so heaven knows, how did I get that white on there? All right, so let's do this. Okay, so now we have a really dark perimeter here, which is making me happy. I like a lot of contrast. I think contrast in your work makes a big difference. Okay, so I'm going to now begin to blend again into my white center here. And I need some more white. All right, so the only thing that's going to be really white is right into the center. So I'm going to rework my edges a little bit because I've left a lot of kind of grit, you know what I'm trying to say, rough paint strokes in here. So I want to smooth them out. And again, the paint underneath is wet enough where it's really blending really nice and easy. Now I'm not going over my dark purple because I would like to keep my dark purple dark, okay? So I'm not going over my dark purple. So I'm just bringing this in. I'm trying to hold on to my easel here. Okay. So even though I have to touch my dark purple here in order to blend it in, okay, I'm not going over it. I'm not going into my dark parts here. Okay. So I want this to really kind of a graduated wash, if you will, okay, where it goes from dark to a little bit lighter, to a little bit lighter still, okay, until I get to my middle, which I want to be really, really, really white, okay. So I'm really blending this, putting a lot of paint on this canvas, okay. So again, okay, I want the middle white. White, I tell you, white. All right, so I have, again, a lot of paint here on my brush and on my canvas, and I haven't washed off my brush, so I'm really getting some nice colors in through here because my brush is, it has some blue on it, it has some red in it because I mixed red and blue together. It has a lot of very cool things going on. Okay, so now this area in through here, again, I would like to blend it a little bit better. So again, I'm going to make myself a little bit more purple in through here. Okay, mixing the purple. And it's a little bit lighter than what's already on the canvas. But I want to blend in this area here. Okay, as we go around. So you're going to work it. And you're going to work it until you love it. Okay, So we're going to do that. And if you're thinking, oh my God, I can't keep up, don't worry about it. Pause the recording, pause the TV, pause whatever device you are watching this on, and take your time, and then just kind of catch up, okay? So this, I kind of made it too light. I'm going to go over it. And again, I'm looking for a kind of gradual, I don't want it to look like puzzle pieces that were kind of stuck on or glued on. I want it to look graduated. I want it to look blended, right? And that takes a little bit of practice, you know. So I tell students, be patient with yourself. And like I said, because this is a recorded production here, okay, just stop it. Just stop the recording and work with this, right? I will tell you that it's easier to blend when the paint is wet, right? So don't let the paint dry out. What I'm noticing here is I kind of have an oval, okay, which is okay. As I'm looking at this, the color comes up a little higher here than it comes down here. So that's why you see me adding more color down here, because I like it. I like the look that I see there. So I'm going to kind of replicate that a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking my homemade purple in here. Okay, and blending. Okay, and again, much easier to do when the paint is wet. Blend. Okay, so I think I want to go up here. Whoa, okay. All right, that was a little bit of a surprise, but that's okay, right? So now I am going to, you know, if you think that you're going to get it perfect the first time, don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. You know, if it's too light, you make it darker. If it's too dark, you make it lighter. You definitely, the person who is in control here, okay? So that I felt was a little bit too light. I made it darker. I made it darker, okay? So I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue along that vein, and I am changing. Like I said, when you're mixing the purple yourself, you can make it absolutely any kind of value that you want. Okay. So my goal in doing this is to actually get a lighter purple. So as I come up here, okay, this is pretty nice. And I'm not pressing really, really hard on my brush because I want to give the paint a chance to really merge in together. Be gentle with your pictures. They take on a life of their own, don't they? And, you know, people say, how long is it supposed to take me? How long is this class? It takes me about, and we've done so many live wine and paints and fun and paints. And I always allow 3 hours because, again, you don't want to feel rushed. And I know with some wine and paints, there's a lot of fun stuff going on, and the pictures, you know, the wine and paints are mostly for, you know, just getting out and socializing, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what your goal is. When I do a fun and paint or wine and paint, I like to, you know, I look online, I see, get ideas about what it is I like, and then I look at them and I'm like, oh, I really like that. How can I make it even better? So you get inspired, And again, I like to do something that I wouldn't mind hanging on my wall when I get it home. All right, so a lot of the fun and paints and the wine and paints are just kind of fun pictures. And, you know, it's to have a night out with your friends and maybe a glass of wine or your favorite beverage somehow. And like I said, absolutely nothing wrong with that, okay? And even here, doing this picture that we wouldn't mind hanging on our wall, or, you know, this would look great in like a child's room or a room with this color scheme in it, right? So again, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for fun, and maybe work on a picture that we wouldn't mind hanging in our homes. So I'm picking up this bottom and I'm closing in on my circle here, my white circle. Okay, and again, I'm not cleaning off my brush, so I'm getting this really cool varied shades, and where I mixed the paint myself. Some of it has a little bit more red in it, some of it has a little bit more blue in it. And if that's not something that you were hoping for, you actually just mix it better. I like seeing all the different variation of color. So unless I really, really need to have it solid, I have a tendency to kind of not mix them all that well, just so I can see all this fun stuff going on. So for me, I feel like it's more important to blend. So when I'm merging the purple into the white, I am not putting a lot of pressure on this brush at all. And I'm just going along that line where the two meet, okay? Because where the two meet is where I want to blend. Okay, and again, dirty brush. So I'm getting this cool thing going on here with the paint. All right, a little bit over here, I would like to go a little darker, and that has some beauteous red highlights in it. Nice, nice. Okay. Okay, so then I'm using just the corner of the brush here to kind of keep it on the dark side. Okay, so and always a good idea to kind of stand back a little bit, because especially because I'm doing this as a project, I'm really right on top of it. So always a good idea to kind of step back a little bit and take a look. And again, you know, blend for nice smooth strokes in through here. And I'm going to stand back and take a look at it. And lo and behold, it's a little, my circle, it's a little bit crooked, all right? And it's not something that was so noticeable to me when I was standing up close to it. So again, always a really good idea to take a step back. So take a step back, have a sip of your tea. And they put it over here, I think. And so what I'm noticing is, if I show this to you like face forward, what I'm seeing is that my opening is not kind of round. It looks like an oval, and it also looks like it's tilting to one side. So again, always a really good idea to take a look at things. So what I've decided to do is bring in a little bit more of the purple here. And so I am going to clean my brush, and I am going to mix more purple. Okay, so I'm mixing red and blue in here and making purple. Okay, and I'm going to put it right over in this corner here. And that's really, really blue, which is, again, it's pretty, but I'm going to mix a little bit more red in, so it's a little bit more purple. There we go. So now again, I'm going to face it towards me for a second and just round this out a bit. I'm going to round this out over here and over here, and I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to take this and round this out over here. Okay, now stand back, Jim. awesomeness. All right, so now I am going to blend this a little bit more, and I think I got a piece of dry paint over here. Okay, so I'm gonna, again, what I was doing before was blending into the white. So I am going to do that with the new layer of paint that I put on here to reshape my opening. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of white over here. There we go. How does that look? What do you think, kids? Looks like a great big huge moon, doesn't it? Okay, so again, this time I am going to clean off any excess paint on my brush, because at this point I'm liking what I have, and I kind of want to maintain it. I don't want to put any more purple anywhere. I like the shape of it. I like the size of it. So now finishing touches here. Take a look. Okay. Take a look. Let's close off this side again. All right. Let's see here what you've done, Joan. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit darker. Right here. Okay. All right. So again, taking the excess off the brush, and this is pretty used up. So let's go. Get another piece. All right, so I'm going to, again, take the excess off, and I'm not putting the brush in the water because I don't want to water down this paint here. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm liking this. I'm going to leave it be, I believe. Okay, maybe one more stroke right here. Right, so because of all the white underneath it, if you keep restroking it, certainly, then it's going to blend into the background. So I'm really liking that now. What do you think? Yeah. Okay, so maybe let me move some of this paint out of the way. Okay. Okay, and usually, you know, when I'm doing this, I usually play some music. All right, now I've elected to not have the music only so that it doesn't vie for your attention. Okay, I want to have your full attention here. Okay. So I have this cool stuff going on, right? So now, okay, I like my background. I like how dark it is over here, darker, maybe. Go even a little bit darker here. Okay. All right, so your brushes, when you're not using your brushes, put them in the water, because like your clothes, if the paint dries on the brush, all right, it will, you can wash it while the brush is wet, certainly, while the paint is wet on the brush, but once that paint dries in the brush, you can throw that brush away or use it to make mandalas, certainly, because it'll be stiff as a board, and you will not be able to paint with it. Okay, so when you're working with acrylic paints, oil paints, you always work from the back forward. So that's why we did the background first. all right? And so we're gonna work from the back forward. The only exception to that rule is watercolors. If you're using watercolors, then, you know, watercolors are see-through, they're transparent. So if you're using watercolors, and you do the back first, you will end up putting just more layers over it, and the layers will merge. So if you have a red layer in watercolors only, not in acrylics, in watercolors, and you put green over it, hoping to like make a Christmas picture, you'll actually end up with brown because you can see through the transparent layers. All right, with acrylic paints and oil paints, they're very heavy and opaque. So if I have a black area and I decide, I really wanted to change that to white, then all I have to do is let it dry and then paint it white. And I take a coat or two, but it'll work. All right, same thing with oil paints. What's the difference between oils and acrylics? All right, acrylics, water-based. Oil paints are oil-based, although they do have water-soluble oils now, which, well, we can talk about a little bit later. So as I'm talking to you, again, I said I wanted that center to be really nice and white. So I'm just kind of blending in the white here because it's going to be where the butterfly is. And so we really want to showcase that butterfly. So having the contrast here is going to do that. Contrast is light up against dark. And if you look at any picture and say, my artwork doesn't look quite the way I think it should, I wonder what's wrong with it, the word contrast should come to your mind immediately because it's usually not enough contrast or it's too much contrast. My fingers, I was actually painting with my fingers. So acrylic paints are water-based and they're opaque. Oil paints are oil-based and opaque. So again, if you're painting with either one of those and you don't like it, you can just let it dry, paint right over it. If it's still wet, you can actually wipe it off, all right? Now, why do some people use acrylics and some people use oils? Acrylic paints dry faster, all right? So doing this kind of background with an oil paint, the paint stays wet longer, and a lot of artists find it easier to blend with oils than they do acrylics. However, if you use acrylics a lot, you get so used to it that you are able to blend just as well with the acrylics. Now, doing fun and paints and wine and paints, if I were to use oil paints, then you would have a hard time getting the picture home because oil paintings take a long time to dry, okay? Typically a couple of months, depending on what you're using for a medium. And most people are using like linseed oil or liquin. Liquin is a very popular medium for oils. So with acrylics, they dry fast enough that you can finish the picture and actually get it home. All right, so that's why I switched to acrylics for fun and paints and wine and paints. But both mediums are absolutely wonderful. Both have their pros, both have their cons. And when I'm working on my own pictures, my own projects, if I'm pretty sure, you know, that I just want this background kind of done, I would do it in acrylics so that it's relatively dry, and then switch to oils to do the other parts of the subject. So you can certainly mix mediums. I've done watercolors and then inked over them, you know, inked on details and whatnot. So you're only limited as far as you can stretch your imagination. And after all these years, I can stretch it pretty good. It's like an elastic. Okay, so so don't be afraid to experiment. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to create this this tree. All right, we want to put the tree in. So this tree is coming from this corner and kind of, you know, going around a circle, really is kind of hugging the circle. And then there's a branch out here, which our little butterfly can sit on. Now you could change the color of the butterfly. You could change the color of the flowers. Remember that when you see something that you like, the very next thought, you know, you should think in your head, oh, wow, that's cool. The very next thought you should have is, how can I make it even better, right? So you want to be inspired, certainly, by work. Okay, so I have my palette pretty wilted and kind of messed up here. All right, so these are the two plates I've been working on, and I'm going to move them aside. I am going to use the red and the green that's out here. And again, if you don't have green, mix blue and yellow together, and you'll definitely get a green. And then if I mix red and green together, I'm going to end up with brown. So if you have brown, absolutely go ahead, use your brown. If you do not have brown, make it, okay? So I'm using my green, and it doesn't, I'm using Hooker's green and red cadmium light hue, okay, or bright red. All right, so those are the two I'm using. But whatever values or colors that you have, whatever hues you have, it's absolutely fine. That's what you should use. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this round-headed brush, and this particular brush has a little bit of a point on the end of it. So that's going to allow me to draw out some of the smaller branches and whatnot. But at this stage of the game, I'm actually just kind of looking for guidelines. So, I mean, I am going to look at this, but I also want to know where those are, where, you know, which direction do I want to go into? And let me see what I'm looking for here. Okay, so again, mix your brown, or if you have brown, that's fine too. All right, so again, green, red, okay, green, red. See the brown getting mixed in here? All right, and if it's not dark enough, add some black to it. All right, so if you want it darker, you add some black to it. All right, this is actually more brown, but you can add black to it. I think that this is probably dark enough for me. So now watch the magic happen. Okay, so this, and I'm going to, let me move my bench down so that I can get right in front here. So I want my tree to kind of come up here. And again, I want it to kind of hug around this, around my light area. Okay. So at this point, I'm just looking for direction and, you know, how far out, where do I want it to go? And then I will enhance it afterwards. So I want this to come about halfway up over here. Okay, and then I am going to have it, okay, about halfway up. And I'm going to bring some in this way, some that way. I want some of the branches going off this way. I want this doing this, okay? So now I have a direction for my branch. Kind of came up and down and then kind of came back up this way. And there were some branches that kind of branched off that way. All right, so this we're creating here. We're creating, and there's not really a wrong way to do it. All right, you're just kind of looking at it and seeing, you know, oh yeah, okay, I like this, or yeah, I'm not too crazy about that part, but but we're really just playing here, just making a vine of sorts here. Okay, I'm gonna thicken this up just a little bit here. Okay, and again, a little vine here, a little vine there, a little movement over here. This is kind of sweeping around that way. So my vine is doing its thing. Okay, right, it has maybe another little one in through here. Okay, and as I'm going up the canvas, I'm easing up on the pressure on the brush. Okay, so that my line gets thinner. Okay, up this way. I'm going to have another one come here. Right, so we're kind of getting this vine or branch, and actually looks like a branch with a vine. Okay, so this over here, this is where all the actions happens, where all the action starts. And let me see if I can get it even closer for you. Okay, so I'm going to, again, at this starting point, and this time I'm going to go up this side like this and come right up the side. I'm going to come in through here a little bit. Okay, and again, just let the paint run out on your brush, and that way you'll get a nice kind of you get a nice cool delicate little edge or ending there. Okay. So let's do that again here. All right, then on this side I'm going to come up here like this. Okay. And again, no wrong way. There's no wrong way. Don't sweat the small stuff. And oh, there's another one right here. I really like this. Coming up here, I'm going up here. Again, not a wrong way to do it. If in fact you feel a little bit intimidated by this, pause the recording, honey. Pause the recording and take your time. Okay, I'm gonna come up this way. Pause the recording, play around a little bit. You could even take a piece of paper before you do this and practice on the piece of paper. And again, we're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for some fun, right? So here, my branches are just like going and they're hugging this white highlight. Okay, now I kind of, again, we're hugging the circle over here. There is a branch that kind of comes this way up here and does one of these. Okay. Right? And let me tell you that when I'm picking up this paint, I'm rolling the brush in the paint, and that's making a nice point on the brush and giving me a little bit more control here. Okay, so, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the brush either. So that is, that's helping to facilitate a little bit more control as well. Okay, I'm gonna take another one and go up here like this. I'm gonna bring another one down here. Okay, so très cool, très cool. I actually was lucky enough to spend some time in France. So I did not want to go to France and not be able to parler la français language. So at least not totally know nothing. I thought, okay, I'll just learn enough to get by for a while. So, you know, I bought a program and practiced online and pulled up all these YouTubes and all this good stuff. I wanted to be prepared. Hey, I'm a Virgo. You know, Virgos do stuff like that. We don't, we don't fool around here. So So, so I did that. And so when you go to France, if you've been there, you know that they make absolutely everything fresh. So I wanted, and they have these awesome, awesome croissants that have chocolate in them. So it's a croissant dans chocolat in the middle. Yeah. So it's like, I saw that and I'm like, okay, I can order that. I can do this. So my first breakfast in Paris, I ordered my, in my very best French, I ordered my chocolate. It's a regular croissant, but it has chocolate inside of it. And when I tell you, my mouth was watering. My mouth was watering. So I ordered that and a cup of hot chocolate, which is chocolat haute, chose. Now I can't even remember. So I order my croissant and hot chocolate, and so the waitress, the person repeated what I said, and so I thought, okay, I'm golden, and so she just kind of, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, we. So my goal was to get a croissant with chocolate in a cup of tea. Okay, so I'm not sure I told the story totally right. So that was my goal. So what I actually got, right, was a cup of hot chocolate, a regular croissant with nothing in the middle of it, and a cup of tea. So I'm looking at it, and she's like, d'accord, is it okay? Is it okay? And I'm like, oui, And so I did not want to admit that I ordered the wrong way. So that was my first breakfast in Paris. So I wanted a croissant with chocolate in it and a cup of tea. And what I got was something close, but no cigar. So I practiced and practiced and practiced, and eventually, before I left France, before I left Paris, I was able to get a chocolate-filled croissant and a cup of tea. Okay, so now we're going to do this mid branch here, and again, we're coming from this branch, this main beginning place, and we're going to come up here and almost through the middle, and this is going to come down this way, and I need a little bit more paint here. Okay, so this is going to come here like this. This branch is going to branch off right here, and we have these little thingamajiggies going on this way and this way. Okay. Actually, let's make this one a little bit longer so we can really kind of play around here. Okay. Gonna bring this one down, and let's see if I can, again, when you're picking up your paint, roll that brush so that you end up with a little bit of a point, and then it's a little bit easier to do some of these end branches here. Okay, so even though that's not quite what it looks like over here, I'm liking it. Okay, so I'm going to, as long as you like it, go ahead and add a little bit of volume to it. Okay, and remember that branches and trees, okay, are thicker at the base than, and then they get smaller, of course, as you go along. And you'll be absolutely amazed at how many people, as they're doing the branches, they kind of get lost in the sauce over here, and they end up making all of these really tough looking branches that instead of getting thinner, sometimes they actually get thicker, and then they have to go back down here and make this part thicker, and that part thicker, and before you know it, it's there. It's not something that they're really liking. So, so remember as you're going along to get thinner as you go along. All right, so I'm actually going to take a smaller detail brush, okay, which looks like this. It is a round head, pretty much like the one I was just using, except that it's smaller. Okay, and I know those of you who have kits, who got kits from the center, actually have these detail brushes. As a matter of fact, I'm relatively sure, if I remember correctly, that you have 7 brushes in your kit. Okay, so I am going to take this and just do this. So I'm actually just kind of working with my little branches. I want to connect them a little bit better at the place where they do connect, certainly. And if they're too scary looking, if they're too like pointy and maybe scary looking, maybe you want to work on that a little bit. Okay, roll the brush in the paint. Okay, so that we get a point here. Just a little bit here and there. This is a little bit pointy over here, and I like it pointy, but I'm going to add a little bit more stuff going on. Now see how this is thicker than this, so now I have to go and kind of thicken that a little bit. Luckily, my base is pretty thick already, so it can withstand a little bit more paint. So again, kind of be careful with that. Okay, where the branches meet and kind of taper off, you can play around a little bit in those areas. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of work with our tree branches. I'm gonna go a little heavier in through here. Oops. Okay, there's a lot of paint on this canvas. Okay, I want to take this over here, this one over here. Okay, so you have a real opportunity to really kind of experiment a little bit, play around a little bit. Now I kind of drew this one in kind of fast, so I'm going to take my detail brush, okay, which is a round-headed brush and on the slim side. Okay, I'm going to take the excess paint off because I want the paint to be on the tip of the brush. Okay, so this little guy here, he just kind of got neglected because I just painted it on at an angle kind of really fast. So now he needs some tender, loving care. All right, so TLC is just for this little baby right here. And coming off of my canvas and on my side because I'm paying attention. Okay, apologize for the squeaky, squeaky table. This art table was custom made for me 25 years ago. And since then, it has probably as much paint on it as this canvas does right now. Okay, let's go up here. Let's take this over here. Okay, so we want to give our branch a little love. Need some love. Good, good, good. Checking to make sure we're still recording. We are. I actually, the last fun and paint I did, it took me Yeah, a good 3 hours, like I say, to kind of get them together and from start to finish, and talk about materials and all that good stuff. And then 3 hours later, when I turned the camera off, the computer popped up with this message, and it said that the file was corrupted. And no matter what I did, I was not able to save that file. So I had to redo the entire thing. So if you see me keep checking to make sure we're recording properly, that would be why. Okay, so branches, do your branches. Okay. Went a little bit thicker down here, here. Now you will notice that my branches are kind of all the same color. They are like a silhouette type of thing. They're very dark, right? There's a lot of vines and whatnot on these branches. If you want to put them in, put them in. If you do not want to put them in, don't put them in. All right, if you are going to put those vines around those branches, make sure that the branch is finished first. Remember that you're going to work from the back forward, which means that if you're going to put anything on these branches, the branches have to be done in their entirety. Okay, so let's make sure that these branches look as we want them to. Okay, now I see kind of a little smudgy thing going on here. So let's fix it. Now's the time. Now's the time to fix it. Okay. That looks pretty ding dang ding good. And now step back. Do the step back thing and look at it. Oh my God, I love it. I have to I have to say the edges make it look kind of Halloween-y. So I almost, instead of a butterfly, we should put like a ghost or a pumpkin or a haunted house even. But I have to say, I do like it. I do like it. And we are going to make it flowery, even though those branches look a little bit tentacly. They look like little tentacles. Okay, so my branches, before I go ahead and do anything else to them, I'm going to add some color to them because I want to. Okay, so I'm actually going to take this yellow, add some red to it. And because I have brown on my brush, it's making this kind of sienna color, right? Sienna brown. Okay, so you don't have to have a sienna brown. You can have whatever your heart desires. I'm going to take and put some color on my branches because I want to. So those of you who have the handouts are probably looking at them and going, what the heck is she doing? That's not on there. But remember what I told you? Look at it. Say, oh my God, this is awesome. How do I make it even better? Okay, so whenever I make trees, I like to put red in my trees, red and sienna, and I like them to be kind of colorful. So absolutely, you know, if you want your trees to look more like a silhouette, because this does look, the handout, it does look more like a silhouette, then by all means, skip this step, okay? If you want to put this step in and you're finding that it's going a little bit quicker than what is your comfort level, stop the recording. Stop the recording. All right, I like this. It gives, I think it gives the tree a 3D look, okay, because it has some highlight on it. Okay, I'm going to bring this in a little bit closer. It's really stuck to the canvas. All right, see what's going on with that tree. Okay, So, and you can always take brown and reintroduce it in there. So if that's too much color for you, but I like it like that. That's okay for me. Okay. So I am going to continue to add some color, and by color, I'm adding this red and brown, and I'm getting kind of a sienna. Sienna brown is what we call a warm brown, because some colors are considered warm colors, some colors are considered cooler colors. So a sienna has a little bit of orange and red in it, so we call those warmer colors. When you make a orangey color or a yellow color, think warm, like the sun, okay? And so they create kind of a warm value. Okay. So when you get to the smaller branches, if you decide that you're going to do that to the smaller branches, either switch to a smaller brush or make sure the brush you're using has a decent kind of point on it. Okay, so I am putting some color on my branches and liking it. Okay, so down here, let's put a little bit more color going on over here. Again, if you have too much color, add some of your original brown to it. Okay, so I'm using just the point of this brush. Because like I said, this is absolutely one of my favorite brushes because of the point. All right, so I can get a lot of really good coverage with the fat part of the brush, and then with the tip of the brush, can do magic. Can do magic. Okay, so look, see, nice. And like I said, it gives a definite volume and 3D to the wood itself, because there's so much dark behind it. If you go ahead and put a little bit of a lighter value on there, it shows up. Okay, so it depends on your objective. Maybe you want it to blend in with the background a little bit. Okay, not a wrong way, not a wrong way, kids. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the really tiny detail brush, because I want to roll my brush in that sienna brown that I made over here, and just get into some of these smaller spots, especially here, because our butterfly is going here and it's going to kind of be the star of the show. So we want a lot of good stuff around the star of the show. Okay. There we go. Now I made this little tiny smudge here, and I just kind of wiped it with my finger and wiped it again with my finger. What I'm going to say is go into the original dark brown that you used and just fix it. Do not panic. I see students panicking. They go, oh my God, I made a smudge, or I did this or that. And I'm like, okay, you know, so you made a smudge. Let's go ahead and fix your smudge. Okay, so I'm liking the idea of this. I'm going to take just a little bit of my white, and I'm going to kind of, well, maybe not. That looks kind of yucky. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush. That's it. clean the brush. And I'm going to take some white once again, and I'm actually going to add just a little bit of brown to my white. So I'm making a very light kind of brownish white. And the reason for doing that is I want to just kind of run a little bit of highlight here on this branch. Now again, if you have the handout, you're going to be like, oh my God, what is she doing? Because it's not on the handout. But see how putting that highlight on there makes it look like there's that light is making those branches glow. Okay, so is this a moon? Is this a sun? Whatever it might be. Okay, we know it's a light source. So I'm going to just add a little bit of light onto this side of the tree. And again, it's definitely not on the handout, so don't come after me. It's all right. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and just come right down the side of this a little bit here and under here and even over here a little bit and here. Okay, so any place that's going to kind of pick up that highlight or that light source coming at us. All right, it's a very kind of cool thing to have. So we're going to do that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to pick up the light, pick it up. Being a light worker, pick up the light, kids. So I'm going to pick up this light here. I'm going to pick some up a little bit here and down here. Okay, because this is the side that's facing the light source, right? And that it would pick it up here and here and here as well. Okay, and even a little bit on here. Okay. So that's kind of really cool looking over there. Okay, I'm going to pull a little bit more over here and down the side, a little bit here and here. So, you know, you are the creator. Don't worry about a thing. You make it the way you like it. Okay, a little bit of light source going on over here, I think. Here. I'm just going to have to stand back because I think oh my God, I am loving it. Okay, good. And I'm my own best entertainment here. Because that light in the middle is so bright, picking it up on the inside of the trees actually makes it even brighter. Okay. So, and again, this white is not the same as this white. All right, the white that I'm putting on here is the white that I mixed in with the brown. Okay, so it's not a nice bright white. It's a very brownish, tannish, coolish, whitish. Okay. So let's pick up a little bit more here, a little bit more here. And all it's really doing is just giving our tree a little bit more dimension, certainly, because it now, it now looks cylindrical, or looks round. Let me pick up a little bit more white. It looks round at us now, and that is because, again, remember the word contrast. All right, whenever you're looking at this and you're kind of going, gee, that looks kind of cool. How come? How come it looks so cool? It looks cool because there's contrast there. There's light up against dark. I'm going to put a little bit more here, like this. Okay. Like this. That looks good over there. Let's give you a little bit more over here. A little bit more over here. Okay. Let's give this little guy some like right here, because that's where the light would hit it there. So we're kind of guessing kind of where the light's going to hit it. The light source is right here. So all of this underneath branches, what's going to get hit with the light. Put a little on the down part down here, which I'm not real sure how much of the light would actually hit down there, but I am going to include a little there anywho. Okay. Right. So now this branch over here, the light is actually behind it. So, you know, where is that one going to pick up highlight? Probably probably the only places are just very very small areas in through here. So I'm going to put a highlight in, but I'm going to make it on the slim side here. Okay, and maybe even a little on the underside, and then we'll kind of look at it and see what it looks like. Okay, let's check that out. I'm going to come and stand aside and see if that actually works. And I'm thinking it does. I'm thinking it's looking good. I'm gonna put just a tad more under here, like this. Oh, okay. That's a big tad. Like this. Let's pull this up here, here. Let's pull this down. All right. So I'm thinking I'm going to take a little bit of dark brown and actually make that highlight a little bit on the thinner side. Okay. Same thing kind of here, although I'm liking that highlight. Okay, so let's pull this here. Okay, what do we think? Let's pull a little bit more in through here, a little bit more in through here. Ta-da! Ta-ta! Let's grab a little bit of light here. So you can grab the lights in your picture. Grab this light just a little bit here. Ha! Well, I'll be dipped. How cool is that? Even have a little knot going on over here. I like it. When you're in the flow, if you will, of creating a picture, sometimes it just does its own thing. It just does whatever it wants to do. And after you're done with it, you go, oh yeah, that looks like a knot in the tree. This looks like that. And it may not even be something that you consciously put in there. It just, what Bob Ross used to call a happy little accident. And he was the king of happy little accidents, because he used to do these half-hour paintings on TV. And so he'd use his big brush, his mighty fan brush, and he'd be painting away and painting away, and working that fast and trying to complete an entire picture in a half hour. It was difficult to not make mistakes, and because it was only a half hour, he would, instead of fixing them, he'd go, "Oh, there's a happy little accident," and he would make it into a tree or something else, and on he went. Okay, so do we want to put those vines in? Okay, so the only place that I really see vines are here and here, and there. I mean, you could bring them all the way up, certainly, or you could put them in here. And my thought is that maybe the artist kind of included those to give that branch a little bit more volume. So we certainly could try doing that. Okay, so I'm going to just wind this around here, and let's see if I can get you even closer. Go down here. All right, so I'm going to take this and just winding it around here. I'm actually going to lighten it up a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so there's one kind of little viney thing here, and actually making it like this, giving it a little bit of an edge, and we'd put some flowers on there. So that would be very, very awesome. Okay, so again, you're kind of letting this picture inspire you. Okay, it's more important that you kind of just make it your own. Okay, so I am going to take this and wind it right around here and here like this. Okay. And where it crosses over in front of the tree, I'm going to put a little bit of white paint in there, just so it shows up even a little bit more. Okay, so when you're in the white area, go darker. When you're crossing over the tree, you want to go lighter, because as you can see, you can't see it. All right, so let's go ahead and make that lighter. See, all of a sudden you can see it. Right, this comes behind here, this is behind the tree, this is in front of the tree, behind the tree. All right, so we have these cool viney things kind of going on, and even here like this, and around here and here and here. Okay, so you can really again do your own thing, winding them here and here, and make sure you keep your brush thin, because if not, you'll end up with a really big fat vine, which I'm not sure you want. Okay, so I'm really, wherever it's going in front of the tree limb, I'm adding some lighter values to it, so it kind of looks like it's winding around the tree. Okay, so we have this. Do we want to wind around anywhere else? Maybe, baby. Okay, so I think maybe instead of winding around, because I have kind of a space going on over here, I think I will actually just make another limb, because I want to put some flowers in here. Okay. So I'm going to create another limb going this way and this way. So now I'll have flowers here and here and going on here. We have some stuff going off this way. All right, so we're kind of thinking ahead about, you know, where our flower is going to be, where is a butterfly going to be. All right, and your butterfly actually is just two triangular shapes. All right, so I'm going to take some black actually, because this butterfly has black and it's actually the same color as your tree. So I'm going to add some black to the brown of the tree that I used. Okay, so I'm going to put some black here on my palette, and hopefully not, oh, okay. So I was hoping it wouldn't come out quite as fast, but that's okay. I can handle it. Okay, so I actually poured out quite a bit here. So let me clean off my table, because I did put it on the table. There we go. Ta-da! All right, so I'm going to take this paper and move it behind here. Okay, so I'm definitely going to take my small brush once again, okay, putting it in the water, and I actually want to water down a little bit of this black paint, okay, and I say water it down because I don't want any thick black lines. These are going to be just guidelines. I just want them to be guidelines. So now, where do I want to place this butterfly? Right here. Okay, so I'm going to put his little body here, and then I am going to have a wing here, like this, and another one like this. Okay, so I just made two triangles. I made them extremely light. Okay, I made very light guidelines, so I know exactly where my little guy is going. Okay. So now that I know where my little guy is going, I can take my heavy black paint, like not watered down paint, and actually put in, okay, I can actually go over this edge, and I'm going to kind of bounce this a little bit, make a kind of a scalloped edge. Okay, you can see that. And then here, we're going to go a little bit thicker. So we're going to keep this relatively simple here. Okay. All right, so that is there. And this is going to come up here. And again, we're going to kind of scallop this edge just a tad, and then bring in our butterfly. Okay, and the butterfly body, I'm actually going to bring this over just a little bit more here, like this. And so my butterfly body is going to consist of a head. Okay, so you can just touch the canvas if you want to kind of create that head. But then the body is kind of a cylinder. It's just go take your brush and just draw it down, put a little bump on the top of it, and you're golden. Okay, butterflies have a teensy tail here, and they also have little legs that help them to kind of hold on. Okay, so put in their little legs. All right, and they also have little antenna, little tiny dots that are connecting them. Okay, so look at my butterfly. Right. Okay, so we want him to kind of hold on to we want him to be holding on. All right, So now I need my purple once again. Okay. I'm going to clean off my smaller brush and actually just place it aside for now. All right. And with a chisel head or angled square brush, I am going to, if you still have purple, that's cool. If not, you can create more purple by mixing red and blue together. Right? And if you need to stop the video, go ahead and stop this video because we want to paint our butterfly purple. Okay, so I'm going to paint in purple. Okay, and I'm not going over my black lines. Okay, I'm using them as a guide for his little body. Okay, and this one, I'm going to raise it up just a tad here. Okay, so this body does this. And this one, they definitely touch over here. So we can let them touch like this. All right, and I can still see my black. Okay, you want to still be able to see that. Okay, and bring that here. So here I can still see a little bit of my black scallop. All right, I'm going to rinse, I'm not rinsing off my brush, but I'm taking the paint off with just a paper towel, and then I am dipping into the white, okay, and I'm wiping the brush off so it's not fully loaded, as they say, and I'm just going to whisk forward here, okay, just one stroke each, or 1.5. Okay, so now my butterfly looks awesome. Okay, so take a look at my purple butterfly. All right, so he has a he goes from, you know, light to dark, pretty good. So that's all I really need that white for, is to kind of give him a graduated wash. So now I'm going to go back to my small brush and my black paint, and I'm going to, can you see, go right over the black that I had put on for guidelines. Gonna go over it again, okay. Going to go over this part again as well. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go over this part too. There we go. So now I actually, where that scalloped edge is, I'm going to, each scalloped edge, I'm going to pull down and into my butterfly. Okay, and I am going to show you this. Okay. So now, look at my butterfly. Looking cool, butterfly. Okay. So here, I'm going to embellish just a little bit by putting a little bit of Daka here. Okay. Going to take just a little bit more light and put it right here. Okay. So that butterfly looking pretty cool. I'm going to take just a tad of red and put it right in through here, just a little, just to give him a little bit more pizzazz here. Okay. Just a little. Okay, so you're really going to work on these butterfly wings, but work on them carefully, okay? You don't want to undo the beauty that we have created here. Okay, once again, apologizing for my squeaky table. It's at this table, like I said, was handmade, custom made, handmade for me 25 years ago. And when I tell you it has 25 years of paint on it, it has 25 years of paint on it. I have only sort of sanded it down a little bit, like once or twice. But for the most part, the paint that's on here is from 25 years of students and myself painting on this table. I will also tell you that the floor is carpeted, okay? So even though that's not an ideal thing for an art room, it's actually more comfortable on your feet and whatnot to have carpet underneath it. So it's actually a very inexpensive carpet and done that way, designed that way. So we kind of knew, you know, there's going to be a lot of paint on the floor, right? So with the with students and myself, not just students, we have dropped a large amount of paint on the floor. And I used to try and clean it up a little bit because, I mean, we're still, you know, because it's such a large room and such a large table, my family, you know, it's like if we have family dinners and whatnot, they're like, oh, can we eat down in the art room? We have that big, huge table. So I would try to kind of keep the floor clean. I finally gave up. So the joke and the job is that if you in fact dropped paint on the art room floor, it was your job to go ahead and make a picture out of it. So though I would like to pick up the camera and show you exactly some of the beautiful artwork on the floor, the camera is too heavy. It's actually my computer. Okay, so but that's how we took care of that. I was like, okay, this is, I'm just, you know, I would scrub it, and of course if I didn't see it on time, it would dry on the carpet. And as I say, you know, once it's dry, forget it, you're in deep yogurt. Okay, so I decided to rework my butterfly only because I liked it better before I started putting all those things on there, all those cool things. So easy enough to redo, certainly. Okay, so I just painted it purple again, and painted it purple again, and then put the white on it again. Okay, so I definitely would like the purple to be a little bit darker near the center of his body. And I will tell you that in the beginning, I told you that I repurpose canvases because I end up doing the same ones over and over again as people have their favorites. This is the first time. This is the first time I'm doing this one. So kind of learning together here. Okay. which is a-okay. It's good. Good for the teacher to learn. All right, so I'm actually blending this a little bit in through here, like so, and taking the lighter. That's better, I would say. Better, better. Okay, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of white on the corner of my brush and pull that down. Oh, that actually looks mucho better. Okay, so let's do the same thing down here. Okay, so again, you know, you're never too good to learn. I was just going to say, no matter how much experience you have, I have quite a bit of experience because I have been painting. Oh, should I admit this? I have been painting for over 45 years. Okay, so you know, people will say to me, "Oh my God, you make that look so easy," and I don't know, kind of, you know, what they're expecting me to say, but I say, "Oh, it is easy," and they just kind of look at me like, "Ah, you got to be kidding," and so then I follow it up by saying, "But it wasn't easy 30 years ago," you know. So we're still learning, and you know, it was difficult to make things look 3D. But like with anything else, the repetition, all right, helps. The repetition helps, and you get to know, you know, what works, what doesn't work, and you just can't help but get better at it. We did a number of mandalas, dotted mandalas, and I showed you one earlier. Let me see here. Okay, I showed you this one a little bit earlier, and someone said to me, "How the heck do you get those dots to, you know, be like that?" And so I kind of cracked up laughing, and I said, "You know," I said, "after you do a dotted mandala picture, you have done so many dots that you have no choice but to kind of get good at them." So with that, it's just a matter of, do I like what I'm doing, right? Because it does take patience, certainly. So and me, you know, I can sit and paint a picture, you know, for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time sometimes, and I'll be kind of sitting there, and I kind of have to go to the bathroom, and I'm a little bit hungry, and this, and then I look at the clock, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's tomorrow already." So so when you like what you're doing, the time goes by quickly, and even though it might be a labor, certainly, to, you know, get all those dots or all these lines in a butterfly and so on and so forth, it becomes a labor of love. So, you know, my sister, she knits, and she'll sit and knit, 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 and I'll be like, "Oh my God, how can you sit there and do that?" And then, of course, before I even get the words out, she's like, "Well, how can you, you know, stand there and paint for like 10,000 years, you know?" So it depends on what you like. And in this, if you're watching this in the time of the COVID scare, that COVID virus scare, people are you know, they're recommending that, you know, you kind of put yourself under house arrest and everyone is home, you know. So oh, I see a little piece in here that looks interesting. So so some people are like having a hard time with that. They're like, "Oh my God, you know, what am I going to do at home? I'm used to running around like a maniac and going to work and so on and so forth." So my answer is always find something that you feel passionate about, something that you know, you enjoy doing, you know, whether it be art, music, whatever it is, whatever you like. Maybe you like building things, build some stuff, do things. Um, I have a girlfriend who loves to, she's a bookworm. She loves to read. So I said to her, why don't you read a chapter or two every day, every couple of days, once a week, whatever, whatever you can do. And, upload it to some nursing homes and places where, people would enjoy being read to. So, so it doesn't matter what it is that, it doesn't matter what your gift is. You definitely have a gift, certainly. And if you're willing to share that gift, well, that's even better. So, read a couple of chapters, or read one chapter, read a half a chapter. But share your gift with each other. One thing, I know that people are going through a really tough time, some more than others, because we're all in a different boat. Like someone said, we're all, all going through the same thing, and so on and so forth. I'm putting little white dots along the bridge. But that's not true. We're not all in the same boat. Some of us are worried about, are we going to be able to, support our families? A lot of people have lost their jobs or had their time lessened and taking pay cuts and stuff. So, and some people are not. Some people are not worried about it. They have, they're okay financially. Some people are, worried about older, like parents that they may have either with them or in nursing homes and whatnot. And some people do not. All right. So if you have someone that you love that's in a nursing home and you can't go visit them, then, that's, that is a stressor. Some people do, some people do not. Okay, so when people say, oh, we're all in the same boat, blah, 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 we're not all in the same boat. Some people, no matter what they do, they don't seem to get sick at all. I have not had so much as a sniffle, which is great for me, but some people, and I do not have COVID certainly, but some people may be carriers, all right? So maybe they're asymptomatic, but they may be carrying something. So, we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. If we stay home, the economy suffers. If we go out, we're placing people that we care about, or maybe even people we don't even know, but you could be placing them in peril health-wise. So not everyone, some people are not, they have a compromised immune system, so they're worried about it. I spoke to one woman today who said, I have all these asthma things and I seem to catch no matter what's going on around. And she said, so I'm a little bit nervous about, when I have to go out and go grocery shopping. So those of us who are feeling good and blah, 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 go empty your neighbor's trash. I live in a condo. I have a townhouse. So we have a dumpster. So go to call your neighbor, say, look, do you need me to empty your trash? Leave it outside your door, and then go empty the trash. Do things to help each other. And so when someone says, oh, we're all in the same boat, we're all in this together, we're not. We're in different boats. We are all experiencing this virus, but we are definitely not all in the same boat. Some of us have kids, some of us don't. Some of us are worried about, like I say, parents or elderly relatives. Some of us don't. So everyone is kind of in a different boat. So be gentle, be kind to each other. Why is it so difficult to just be nice? And what I have found is that even though there are some people who are taking off their masks, they're throwing them on the ground and blah, 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 and other people taking them. So definitely, you know, people are, you know, they're still people, and we wish some of them would do things a little bit differently. However, what I see more of is heroes, you know, people on the front lines, nurses, doctors, those very obvious kind of heroes. And then, of course, you have the heroes that that work in the supermarkets, the truck drivers that bring your supplies to you. Okay, with that, they keep the world running. They keep it on its toes. Yeah, they delivered our art supplies for us. So what I see is a lot more heroics than the not so cool stuff. And you know, there's always going to be a flip side to things. There's no way to kind of get around that. But we have a lot of heroes, a lot of really cool things going on. And I think, you know, we'll maintain that. We'll continue to see it. We are ready. We are ready to make our flowers. All right. So I am going to take my red and put it on a brand new plate like this. And I do have a little bit of blue in there, which is a-okay with me because it's making this kind of awesomely cool red. I like that these are kind of dusty rose color. So I am going to take a bunch of white. I'm really loading up the brush and I'm mixing it in there. And that is definitely giving me a beauteous pink color. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my brown and put it in there. Look, nice. So that's a nice dusty rose color here. All right, and it's not, again, you know, it's not mixed like all the way through, so it's kind of variegated. I kind of like it like that. And then, easy peasy, you're gonna love this. These flowers, just touch, 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 touch. How easy is that? Okay, I'm still stuck over here. All right, so over here, can you see? Yes, you can. Touch, 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 touch. Okay, there's my flower. And it was so easy to do. Okay, so now I'm using kind of a big round-headed brush, and I'm going to use that for some of the bigger flowers that I see in here. But then I'm actually going to switch brushes afterwards and do smaller flowers. But for right now, I'm kind of liking this. Easy, easy peasy. Love it. Ah, cool. Okay. This has a bunch of little ones. I'm going to wait until I get my little brush out for that. This little guy over here. I'm going to put one here. And the more pressure I put on the brush, the bigger the petals, right? And this brush is pretty loaded, actually. So I'm actually getting lots of flowers out of this one loaded brush here. Okay. Let's do one right here. And don't be afraid to overlap. Overlap is the first step to perspective. You know, your flowers are on top of and coming off of your tree stems. It's awesome. Okay, let's see. I think I need one here. And I actually kind of dipped my brush in the white paint so I would get even more kind of variegated. All right, so this is what I did. I put my brush in the white paint like this, right? And then I dipped it in my Dusty Rose, and that's what I got, that kind of variegated, beautiful, beautiful variegated flower. So I'm going to put another one right here, okay? And it's up against that darker one, so it really, really shows through. I'm really liking that. So naturally, I'm going to put another one here. All right, so use your hand up as a guide only. Okay, I'm going to put a few little bud type things going on over here. We want some over here. Okay, so don't be afraid to do the buds. Okay, I'm going to put another one right here, I think. And I'm moving the brush around. Okay, so now I look like I have one in front, one behind, which is absolutely awesome. We like that idea. I'm going to put another little smaller one here. And these are just 5-petal flowers. Okay, so you don't have to worry about, you know, how many petals are they going to be here? What am I going to do with this thing? Just put your petals in. If you, and I'm just totally just leaning this up against the canvas. All right, so if I have a flower that's on top of another flower, I'm adding a little bit more white to the mix so that they look like they're overlapping each other. Okay, let's see, where do I want bigger ones? Definitely want a bigger one here. Okay, and this one is kind of on its side a little bit, so it's facing this way. So I'm not going to give it 5 petals. I'm only going to give it 3. Okay, I'm going to put a bunch of little dies over here. Because I want to. Okay, so those little dot type things, I'm calling them buds. Let's put another one. Oh, let's put one off the side here a little bit. Yeah, nice. Liking it, liking it. So we can see as we're adding our flowers here, I'm going to move this back a little bit so you can see the whole enchilada, which I don't know how I ended up doing that, but let's move this back some so you can see the whole canvas. There we go. Okay, so I have my easel standing up rather straight. So if you're at home and you're using an easel, don't make it this shallow because I'm really having to hold on to it so it doesn't fall over. Okay, I'm going to put another one down here. And again, because I'm kind of putting flower over flower here, I'm changing the value of those flowers just a little bit. Let's do one here. Just a little baby guy here. Let's do another kind of small one here, but a little bit bigger. That's cool. I'm liking it, liking it. Let's put a little one here. Okay, and then a kind of bigger one here, but on its side, so it's facing out this way. Right. Let's put one going this way. Because we don't have too many going out that way. Oh, let's make this one a whole facing flower because I didn't quite center it well. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of white and go like this. Very cool, very cool. This is the fun part. I have to say the whole thing certainly is fun, but this is just like tapping your brush to the canvas and making flowers. I mean, how cool is that? Okay, I think I need a big one down here, and I'm actually going to unstick this again and probably get in trouble again because I'm going to end up going off my canvas and onto the bottom on a kind of I wanna. Okay, so let's do that. Let's make all these little guys over here. Right, and you can switch to a smaller brush. I'm just thinking like little buds over here. So just kind of touching and maybe some of them falling down a little bit here. Okay. Oh yeah, we need some over here, don't we? Let's do here. Cool. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up the white and do one kind of near it. Okay, so I want to go here, here, here. All right, so we have one kind of in the background a little bit. Okay, a little bit more bud work around here. And it adds a lot of color. You'd be amazed, those little tiny buds add so much color. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to a little bit smaller brush. Okay, so this one is not as fat, right? So I'm going to actually roll it, and this is loading the brush. This is what we call loading the brush. And I want to make some smaller flowers. And this one really does make them smaller here. Okay, so let me get this a little bit better. Okay. Let's do a couple more over here. All right. And we're going to do the same thing with this brush. If we want to overlap flowers, we need to change the value of them. Okay, in this case, I'm going lighter so that we can see the additional flower here. Okay, let's do the same thing here maybe. Another one over here. You are like totally unlimited as to what you can do, what you want to do. Lots of little buds and things. Totally cool. Just adding. This one I didn't overlap. I just added a little bit more color to it. Okay, switch back and forth with your brushes. Okay, little tiny buds and little pieces of the flower just kind of falling off of there. Have them going in a bunch of different directions. Let's do a few more little ones over here. Okay, so switching brushes once again, and actually just putting another little bud type over here. Another one over here. Let's do it to it. Okay, switching back to my big brush because I want to put in another flower here and fill this area kind of. And even though I'm using my big brush, I can still control the size a little bit. Okay, let's do another one here. Nice. Let's do another one. And this one I'm going to put a little bit more white into it because we are going to overlap this one a little bit. Okay, that's good. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. Put a few more buds over here, over here. Let's get a big bud over here. It's kind of leaning away from us. Okay, so we're actually just putting lots and lots of beautiful, beautiful color here. Nice. Gonna pick up the white. Okay, cool. Gonna put in just a little bit of one right here, where it's just kind of falling. Let's put another one in over here. So they're just kind of free falling over here. Let's pick up a little bit of white for this guy and put it right over that flower. You actually got to pick up a little bit more white here. Nice. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the dusty, and I'm actually going to put more red in this one because, do I want to overlap there? Maybe not, maybe not. Let me stand back here because I'm getting lots of flowers now. And I love how full this is down here. And I'm actually wanting to put a little bit more going on right here. Okay. Let's do that. Oh, that is so cool. All right. So over here, I'm thinking we could use a little bit more over here as well as up here. Let's do up here. Nice. There's another little guy over here. I'm going to put quite a bit of white on here just because I want a different value at this point. Okay. So let's do this. Yeah, very cool. I'm going to put some of these little white areas over here and just kind of bring in a little bit more color up against here. Same thing down here. I could use these little buds of color coming off of the branches a little bit, yeah. Okay, I'm going to make another little flower right here. Another one right here. Because like I say, I like the fullness of this. So let's put some more here so we can get more fullness. You can never have too many flowers, right? Oh, nice. We are so getting there. Let's grab a little bit of white and just connect another one right here. Okay, let's pick up a little bit more white. Okay, here we go. Okay, I like it. Let's go here. And let's go these little guys over here. Let's put buds here and here. Okay, get a little bit of light over here and here. Okay, I'm looking at it. Not crazy about this little guy over here. So, what can I do about that? Okay, once it's dry, probably not too much. But while it's still wet, I'm going to take a little bit of a Q-tip here. And this is a cosmetic Q-tip, and because it goes to a point on one end, and I'm going to dip it into some clean water here. And I think that I want to take this one not really off. I don't think I can really take it off, but I definitely can move it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to just move that. So, you know, will you never make a mistake? I have been painting a long time. I still make mistakes. Okay, so when I'm working with students, one of the, you know, when they make a mistake, one of the things I noticed is that they totally panic. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I made a mistake. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awful. You know, throw it out. And they look at me and I say, I'm only kidding. You don't have to throw it out, you know. So, so if you make a mistake, all right, you want to kind of diagnose the problem. And in this case, it's kind of, was just too much overlap in through here. So I'm actually going to white it out just a little bit here. And to try and match the background at this point is probably not going to work out very well. So I would be more inclined to kind of fix what's there. So I would take my brush and redab some of this over here. Okay, so we have this one going on here, like that, right? And then this one in the back. Okay, what do I do with that one now? So I want it to be a little bit different than what's in the front. So I'm going to dab like this, but I'm definitely going to make it smaller so that I don't end up with the same problem that I had before, which is that there was a little bit too much overlap there. Okay, so I'm going to just take, like I said, a little bit of white in through here. You drag it out a little, like so. and gonna kind of make it look like a little bit of petal work going on there. All right. I think, let me try a little bit of blue here. Right, so I'm going to just do a little bit of petal work. I'm going to kind of pull this out a little bit. I'm actually going to get a clean Q-tip even. Okay, so if you make a mistake, so what? You're probably the only person who is going to recognize that there's a mistake there. Okay, and all of you, because you saw me do it. Okay, all right, so now I have a little bit of distance between between these flowers. Okay. All right, so that's a sort of a fix in through there. So if I redo this fleur just a little bit here. Okay, so now I am going to take my big brush again and redab it, and voila, it looks like it's supposed to be there. Okay, so the best thing you can do when you make a mistake is don't panic. That's the best thing. All right, so now I'm going to look at this. I like these flowers here. I like these over here. I'm liking these here. I'm going to stand back and see if I actually have enough flowers. I would say yes. All right, they're looking awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to take the same Q-tip that I used to fix my picture, and I'm going to put in some buds. Okay, now just these little dots of color, right, around, and just adding a little bit more color to some of the areas in and around here. Okay. Not a lot, not a lot. Okay, and if you look at the handout, you're going to see little kind of white buds and flowers and little baby's breath and all that good stuff. And I need more white paint. I'm going to go through this whole container, which won't be the first time. Okay, so I'm giving myself just a little because I think that's probably all I need. So I give just a little, and I'm dipping this Q-tip in here, and I'm actually going to just touch along and make these a little teensy bit. I'm going to dip into the, into the pink just a little bit here, so that it's not so quite white. Okay, and I'm going to put these in. Okay, see all these cool little things going on over here? Very awesome. And a Q-tip is just the right size. Is just the right size to do that. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of these little flowers or bubbles. I don't know what they are, but they look so cool. I'm gonna put them in. Okay, there's a whole bunch around here. So let's put them in around these flowers, and actually maybe some even on top of the flowers. I like that idea too. Okay, so I'm not sure if these are supposed to be baby's breath. I'm not really sure. All I know is that I'm liking the additional color that they're kind of putting on here. This, I told you, this the first time that I've done this picture, but it's not the first time that I attempted this picture. I have a cousin who is 6 years old. And I said to her, what do you want to paint today? And she was like, oh, let's do the butterfly, you know. So I'm like, oh, cool, you know, butterfly, easy, cool. And she got hers finished, and I just got like the background done. And I thought to myself, I think I've just been shown up by a 6-year-old. Now, I have to tell you, she's not an ordinary 6-year-old. She's very focused, and I know some adults that, you know, have a hard time sitting through like a 2-hour class. You know, they get fidgety or whatever it might be. But this little chickie, and she's cute as can be, can sit through an hour and a half, 2-hour class, and she's like, you know, at the end of the class, she's like, oh my God, is class over already? She loves painting. She's very good at it. And she's 6 years old, and she can handle a long class. So we know we can see her future. Okay, so let's a few more over here, like this. I like how they kind of bunched together a little bit. Okay, like baby's breath, maybe. Okay. So again, I'm not real sure what they are, but I know I like the way they look. So there we have it. We're putting them in. Sometimes I'll just put paint on a canvas, and I just like all the colors that are together and all that cool stuff. And people will kind of look at it and say, oh, okay, that's interesting. And they kind of, I can tell by their expressions, they're kind of like, gee, I wonder what that is. And I don't offer up any ideas, because if I say to them, well, you know, what do you see in it? Because, you know, it's kind of open-ended, and it always amazes me what people see. It's like, oh, I see this cloud, and the same person who saw a cloud saw an ocean wave. I had made an ocean kind of wave, but there was like a little land mass over on one side. And someone said to me, oh my God, look at those hands. You put hands over there. And I'm doing a double take. I'm like, hands, all right. And so it just totally always is amazing to me, you know, how subjective art is from person to person. And, you know, I tell the kids, because I have a kids class, that there's not a wrong way. I mean, you can learn how to make things look 3D and so on and so forth, but you know, there's really not a wrong interpretation. All right, I'm thinking a little bit of goldy yellow type centers here. And if you do not have that, you are going to need yellow and red. So either that, or if you have orange, use orange, but I don't see it. So where's my yellow even? Yellow, okay. All right, remember, if you're not using your brushes, put them in the water, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow out here, because I already have some red out. And again, this is going to allow me to mix exactly the shade that I want. So I am going to take a decent sized brush and my paper towel and kind of clean this brush off. And I'm going to take some red paint here and add yellow to it. All right, so as I'm adding more and more yellow, I'm getting different shades of oranges here. Okay, so let me add the whole kind of thing here. I'm liking that. So again, you know, if you're creating the color, absolutely, you are in control. Okay, so now I'm just dabbing, and I'm going to dab some yellows in there too. But I'm just dabbing centers at this point and just bringing in some of that color. Okay, so just dabbing, bringing in, again, yellows, oranges. Those are warmer tones. Okay, so this picture is relatively cool in that it has a lot of like even pink can be a little bit of a cooler color. So it has kind of some cool colors going on. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the brown here, I think, and put this in here. So by putting in, oh yeah, that looks better. Put a little bit of brown in there, and you'll like it. So again, these the orange, the yellow, it's a little bit of a warmer color. So for a picture that is pretty cool in temperature, you know, the orange will kind of warm it up just a tad. And I'm even putting some around these little guys because it just, like I said, it warms it up a little bit here. Okay, let's warm this up just a tad. So we're not putting like big chunks of color in here. Okay, we're just looking to grab the eye for a few seconds and give a little bit of color in here. So some of it on the darker ones, I'm going a little bit more brownish with the centers so that we can actually see them a little bit better. Okay, and on the lighter ones, the orange actually looks pretty cool. And you can have any combination thereof because this one has both. This one has orange and brown. And I'm liking it. Okay. I think I'm going to do a pass here. You don't have one. Let's go with Daka Daka here. You don't have one. How about you? You have one, but you need more. You need more help. There we go. All right, there. This one could use a little bit more help. There we go. All right, let's look at these in the middle. Those are looking pretty good already. I think I wouldn't do too much more. These have this one, I think, right in the middle. So it looks like they're kind of getting ready to open up somewhat here. So let's put those right there. This guy, even though he has some, I can still kind of see the tree through that. So I'm going to add a little bit heavier color here. Okay, so again, let's do another take here and kind of look and make sure everyone has their centers who needs them. The ones on the side actually don't need them unless they're facing you. Okay, then they might. Okay, you know what? Stand back one last time. Ta 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 ta. I think it's done. I think it could be done. All right. So this is what we have here, and that's what we have there. And I have to say, that tree with those high, mucho better. Okay. Here is a tree. There's flowers over here. A beautiful butterfly. Okay. I'm going to say this picture is done. And I'm going to move you over here so that I can see you. Just like Miss Jean in Romper Room. Hi, how you doing? Type of thing. You know, I used to sit in front of the TV. And I'm sure this is a story that's not unique. But I would sit in front of the TV, and, you know, when Miss Jean would look, she'd go romper, bomper, domper, boo, or whatever the heck she was saying. And she'd look through the looking glass, and she'd go, oh, hi, how are you, Stephen? And hi, you know, Carol. And then she'd say, and how are you today, Joni? And I'd be like, oh, I'm doing good, Miss Jean. How are you? And instead of answering me, she would just go on and mention more names. Like, there's this thing. And I'd be like, hey, you know, what's wrong with this chick? Why is she not answering me? And of course, my poor mother would try to explain it, but it was like, you know, she's saying that she can really see it, and how are you? And she has this magic looking at. I said, but she's like totally not answering me. I said, here, I'm waiting patiently for her to say my name, and then all of a sudden, you know, I'm talking to her. She just goes on like I'm not even there. What is wrong with that chick? Okay, so I want to say thank you to everyone. This has been such an exciting week for me, working with you folks, okay, and the good folks at the center and at the TV station, and all kinds of heroes and all kinds of good stuff. All right, so I'm Joan Turner. www.joandartgallery.com, and I also do the Intuitive Body and Soul, which is cool energy work. Sometimes we'll do a meditation, and I'll be like, okay, open your eyes. What colors are you drawn to? Put it on the canvas. We have people drawing their auras and their chakras, and, you know, mixing. They're both right brain functions, certainly. You know, where you're doing your artwork or you're doing a meditation. And it's important, especially during this time, to have the spiritual side of you as balanced as that wonderful, beautiful outside of yourself. Okay? Everyone, have an awesome good time. I am going to continue to do some online tutorials and programming. So I am so looking forward to seeing you again. And I'm going to say good night if I can find the off button, which I always have a hard time finding, but I see it now. Okay, everyone have an awesomely good day. Good night, good day.